July 3, 1863, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, 6 a.m. The bloodiest battle in American history is reaching its breaking point. 93,000 Union soldiers dig into Cemetery Ridge. 71,000 Confederates prepare for one final, desperate assault across open ground. General Lee stares through his telescope. General Meade prays his center will hold. Suddenly, the air tears open behind Union lines. Purple lightning, a rift in reality. 3 M1 Abrams tanks, 70 tons of steel each, roar out of the void and slam into Pennsylvania dirt. Soldiers on both sides freeze. What in God's name just arrived on this field? The future. And it's about to rewrite the war. But before the steel meets the powder, let's compare what just landed in 1863. Infantry weapons of 1863. Springfield rifle musket. Muzzle loaded. 2 to 3 shots per minute if you're fast. Effective range, 200 yards. Modern weapon, M2 Browning 50 caliber. 600 rounds per minute. Effective range, over a mile. 1 gunner equals an entire company. Civil War artillery. Napoleon 12-pounder. Solid iron shot. 2 rounds per minute. Gunners aim by eye. Modern firepower. 120mm smoothbore cannon. Punches through 3 feet of steel at 2 miles. Thermal imaging locks targets through smoke and darkness. Protection in 1863. Wool uniform. Some cavalry wear leather. Best armor on the field. 7-pound steel breastplates worn by a few officers. Modern armor. Composite armor with depleted uranium mesh. Shrugs off anti-tank weapons that won't exist for 80 years. Crew wears Kevlar and ceramic plates that stop rifle shots point blank. Recon in 1863. Generals on hilltops with brass telescopes. Orders relayed by messengers on horseback or drummer boys. Modern recon. Thermal imaging sees through smoke and trees. Radio communication is instant. Drones aren't available, but the tanks have something better. 360-degree situational awareness. Medical care in 1863. Field surgery means amputation with a bone saw. Whiskey for pain. Infection kills more than bullets. Modern medkit. Tourniquets, hemostatic gauze, morphine. Trained to stop bleeding in under 2 minutes. But here's the fatal flaw. No supply line. Fuel, 500 gallons. Maybe 100 miles of combat movement on rough terrain before they're out. Ammo, 40 main gun rounds. 900 rounds, 50 cal. 10,000 rounds, coax. Sounds like a lot, until you realize there are 164,000 soldiers on this field. 3 tanks, 12 crew members, against the entire Confederate Army. The clock is ticking. Inside Tank 1, the crew is panicking. The tank commander, call sign Reaper, pops the hatch. He sees it immediately. Blue coats, gray coats, muzzle smoke, regimental flags. Reaper says quietly, "Gettysburg. We're at Gettysburg." The gunner, Sledge, checks the date display, glitching between 2025 and 1863. Sledge says, "Sir, if we're here on July 3rd, Reaper cuts him off. Pickett's Charge. It's today. A Confederate cannonball screams past the turret and explodes 20 feet away. The driver, Ironside, laughs nervously. "They just shot at us with a cannonball." Reaper seals the hatch. "Listen up. We fight smart. Minimal exposure. No abandoned hardware. If we get disabled, they reverse engineer us and the timeline shatters." Sledge asks, "So what's the play?" Reaper responds, "We find the Union command. We stop Pickett's Charge. We win this battle in 6 hours and vanish before anyone asks questions." The tanks roll toward Cemetery Ridge at 40 miles per hour. Faster than any horse. Faster than anything alive. Union soldiers scatter, screaming. Some kneel and fire muskets. Lead balls ping off composite armor like hail on a tin roof. Tank 2's gunner, Havoc, watches thermal. Friendlies ahead. Looks like a colonel on horseback. It's Colonel Joshua Chamberlain. 20th Maine. He's already fought hell at Little Round Top yesterday. Now he's staring at 3 steel monsters bearing down on him. Reaper dismounts, hands visible. Reaper shouts, "Colonel, we're Union reinforcements. Where's General Meade?" Chamberlain, pale but steady, replies, "Reinforcements? From where? What are you?" Reaper answers, "No time to explain. Lee is massing for an assault on your center. 15,000 men. If they break through, you lose the war." Chamberlain stares at the Abrams, then nods slowly. "Then we hold. At any cost." Reaper says, "Show us where they'll hit hardest." Confederate cavalry scouts spot the tanks from a tree line. They report back to General Longstreet. "Sir, the Yankees have iron fortresses, 3 of them. Nothing we've seen before." Longstreet doesn't believe it. He sends a full company of sharpshooters to probe. The sharpshooters open fire from 400 yards. Dozens of rifle balls strike Tank 3. Not a scratch. Tank 3's commander, Titan, grins. "They're shooting at us like we're a barn." But one sharpshooter gets smart. He climbs a tree and aims for the vision blocks. A bullet cracks the external optics. Titan curses. "They hit the periscope. I'm half blind." Reaper orders, "Havoc, suppress that tree line. Coax only. Make them think twice." The 7.62 millimeter coaxial machine gun rips into the woods. Short, controlled bursts. Trees explode into splinters. The sharpshooters break and run. First blood to the future. 1 p.m. The Confederate artillery barrage begins. 150 cannons, the largest bombardment in American history. Iron shot and explosive shells rain down on Cemetery Ridge. Union soldiers hug the ground. Horses scream. Earth fountains into the sky. But the Abrams don't flinch. Reaper orders, "Spread out, 200 yards apart. Don't bunch up. Let them waste ammo on ghosts." The tanks reposition constantly, using speed and terrain. Confederate gunners can't get a solid fix. Inside Tank 1, Sledge watches the thermal display. "Sir, massive infantry formation. 12,000 men. They're forming up for the assault." Reaper radios the other tanks. "This is it, Pickett's Charge. Engage only when they're committed. We break their momentum, not their entire army. Understood?" Both crews acknowledge. 2 p.m. The barrage stops. Silence. Then, across a mile of open field, the gray lines step forward. Flags high. Drums beating, shoulder to shoulder. A Union officer next to Tank 1 whispers, "My God, they're beautiful." Reaper says coldly, "They're dead men walking." The Confederate lines reach 800 yards. Union artillery opens up. Solid shot tears gaps in the formation. The gaps close. They keep coming. 600 yards. Union infantry fires volleys. Smoke rolls across the ridge. Thousands fall. They keep coming. 400 yards. Reaper gives the order. All tanks, coax guns, fire for effect. 3 machine guns open up simultaneously. Tracer rounds streak into the Confederate formation like red lightning. The effect is catastrophic. Men don't just fall, they're cut down in rows. Officers on horseback explode off their saddles. Battle flags drop and don't get picked up. The formation begins to waver. A Confederate general, Lewis Armistead, sees the steel monsters and knows his men are walking into a nightmare. But he raises his sword anyway and screams, "Follow me!" He's brave. It doesn't matter. Sledge puts a burst into the dirt in front of Armistead. The general's horse panics and throws him. He hits the ground hard. Reaper says, "We're not here to massacre them. Break the charge, that's all." But some Confederates make it to 100 yards. Desperate, fearless. Ironside revs the engine and charges forward. Tank 1 barrels into the Confederate flank at 50 miles per hour. The formation shatters. Men dive out of the way or get crushed. Pickett's Charge collapses. Not annihilated, just stopped. The battle seems won, but Confederate sharpshooters hidden in Devil's Den open fire on Union officers rallying their men. A rifle ball hits Colonel Chamberlain in the chest. He drops. Reaper sees it through optics. "Man down, that's Chamberlain." The tank's medic, Doc, grabs his kit and sprints across open ground. Sledge yells, "Doc, get back here!" Doc ignores him. He reaches Chamberlain, who's gasping, blood spreading across his uniform. Doc rips open the coat. The bullet hit a rib and deflected. Didn't penetrate the lung. But the bleeding is bad. Doc works fast. Hemostatic powder, pressure bandage, morphine injector. 30 seconds. Chamberlain's eyes open. He stares at Doc's strange uniform, the unfamiliar medical gear, and whispers, "Are you an angel?" Doc replies, "No, sir, just a medic from Maine. 200 years from now." Chamberlain smiles weakly, then passes out. Doc drags him back to cover. Chamberlain will live. History just changed. Lee sees his assault crumbling. He orders a last, desperate flanking maneuver. Cavalry under General Stuart trying to hit the Union rear. Tank 2 intercepts them. Havoc opens up with the 50 cal. Horses go down in sprays of blood. Riders tumble. The cavalry charge disintegrates into chaos. But one group of Confederate officers, seeing the tank distracted, rushes it with ropes and axes. They're trying to immobilize it. Havoc panics. "They're climbing the hull. They're trying to jam the treads." Reaper orders, "Tank 3, suppressive fire, get them off." Tank 3 fires into the ground near the attackers. The shockwave throws them back. But the message is clear. If one tank gets swarmed and disabled, it's over. Reaper radios all crews. "We've done enough. Disengage. Fall back to rally point." Night falls. The battlefield goes quiet. Confederate forces withdraw in defeat. General Meade rides up to the tanks, flanked by staff officers. He stares at the machines, covered in dust and dents but otherwise untouched. Meade says, "I don't know what you are or where you came from, but you've saved the Union. The President will want to honor you." Reaper shakes his head. "We can't stay, General. Our presence here is already changing too much." Meade protests. "You could end this war in months," Reaper replies, "or break something we can't fix. Trust me, it's better if we leave." The tanks fire up their engines and roll into the darkness. No speeches, no parades, just 3 ghosts slipping back into the night. Morning. Union soldiers find strange things. Track marks wider than any wagon. Shell casings made of brass in shapes no one recognizes. Scorched earth where something impossibly hot burned. And stories. Hundreds of them. Most dismissed as combat stress. But not all. Because the biggest change isn't the battle. It's Colonel Chamberlain, alive, when history says he should have been wounded far worse. He'll go on to greater things. 3 Abrams tanks didn't just win Gettysburg. They saved a hero. They whispered the future into 1863, and then vanished. But in war, even a whisper can change everything.